Saturday morning, August the 16th. Rise and shine, my friends. Good morning to you. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather. Two big stories we are monitoring. First, impact weather today because of the heat. It is a hot day in the neighborhood. Plus, Hurricane Erin, not only now a major hurricane, but a category 4 storm. The system got stronger and stronger and stronger while you were sleeping, and as a matter of fact, became a category 4 storm with a special update at 5:50. National Hurricane Center just now pushing the 8 o'clock intermediate advisory, and we will bring it to you right now. Here's a look at that intermediate advisory. Winds up now from 130 at 5:50 to 145. Rapid intensification continues, and as a matter of fact, that's the kind of bedmark about, or the bedrock about what the National Hurricane Center just put out. I'm going to pull up their intermediate advisory as it's coming out here. Basically, they're saying, I'll just put it full screen here. I'm just reading off. Erin continues to rapidly intensify. Outer rain bands beginning to affect the northern Leeward Islands. And it's moving at about 20 miles an hour. So that's the update, the intermediate advisory from the National Hurricane Center. Essentially, the important thing to note here is that a tropical storm watch is in effect for St. Martin, St. Bartholomew, and St. Martin. So those are the islands that could see tropical storm conditions, some gusts as this system stays north, but at the same time is close enough. Does Erin make a run for category 5 intensity? It's a possibility, frankly. We'll have to see how that plays out. Now, the good news is that while the hurricane hunters are getting a good eye, we're getting better data into the computer forecast models, which is very important. All right, so the hurricane hunters read a 943 millibar low pressure. They went with 935. I'm guessing that there's another, let me do this. I'm guessing that there's another recon mission in. Yeah, the Air Force is also in. Okay, they read. Yes. Okay, so the Air Force read the 935 millibar pressure. So, okay, that makes sense. So it's the WC-130J uh, Hurricane Hunter that found that lowered pressure. So there are two aircraft now. So if that, a lot of you have been asking about, how's the Hurricane Center doing these days? Let me tell you something. They are still doing incredible, incredible work here. So to that point, it's important to note that we are, I feel, absolutely safe with the work that the National Hurricane Center folks are doing, and those brave men and women that pilot these aircraft that make sure that we have all the very latest data for the computer forecast models, etc. It's really remarkable. Now, for us, a lot of people have been asking, how does this impact us, right? Here's a look. Okay, Erin is going to pass well offshore of our area, well offshore of our area, but we're still talking about swell building 4 to 6 foot breakers, okay, for our East Coast communities. And I have an idea. I bet that I'll end up doing at least a story on this next week for Wesh 2, right? Seas offshore building 6 to 10 feet, but the breakers are what's important to us, land lovers, right? 4 to 6 feet right at the beach. That said, if you're planning on going to the beach today, it's lovely. Surf running 1 to 2 feet, seas offshore for the boaters running 2 to 3. So it's a little bumpy out there, but nothing like what we've got coming our direction, essentially. Okay. So that's kind of where we're at in terms of the status this morning. Erin will continue to intensify. Erin will become, I mean, a Cat 5 is not out of the question, I think. It just depends on, when the pressure stops dropping. That's going to be the big one. Okay. But the most important thing for us, and I want to really stress this, our tropical threat meter in Central Florida is low. Rough surf, rip currents, beach erosion, those are going to be the only things. There is not a significant threat to us here in Central Florida. Very, very, very important to know, okay? All right, that said, let's look at the forecast from the National Hurricane Center, shall we? Expected to stay north of Puerto Rico, and essentially like late tonight or early tomorrow is when it makes that closest pass. I'll zoom into it here on the map just to give you an idea. All right, so there's the forecast. 2 p.m. Cat 4 winds of 150. I mean that could be underdoing it. north of Puerto Rico. And then it starts that right hand turn, pulling away from the Turks, Caicos, basically going between Bermuda and the United States. But as it does that, right, watch the surf, watch the wave action here. This is the wave action being generated from this hurricane. Okay, you're talking massive, massive waves, 50 plus feet in the storm, right? But couple of things to note here. Like as it lifts to the north, it's pulling and churning and throwing a bunch of waves our direction. Now, for anybody that's taking a cruise, that trek may be a little rough from Port Canaveral down to the Bahamas. But once you get into the Bahamas, it's a very protected deal, and the mariners there do their darndest to keep you protected, right? But isn't that incredible? Like you can literally see the waves being stopped by the islands, leeward, windward kind of thing, right? So um, Bahama cruises, it's going to be rough until you get into the protection of the Bahamas. So that first night departure may be a little rough, but otherwise you're fine. In terms of airport delays, you're going to be just fine, right? This is the kind of weather setup that we have over the course of the next few days. Okay, this is Monday, and obviously we're with storms. We'll have a 60% coverage of showers and thunder showers. There's the model showing Hurricane Erin outside of the Turks and Caicos. But watch what happens as Erin lifts north. There's a ribbon of subsidence, is what we call it atmospherically. It essentially grabs drier air and starts throwing it our direction. So conditions will actually look better and better. Central Florida's certified most accurate 7-day forecast revealing that 96-degree high today, but watch Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Watch those rain chances start coming down. We could end up with an even lower rain chance, as a matter of fact, looking ahead to Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll have to watch the model data to see. But typically with tropical systems, they pull all the moisture into them and starve the rest of the atmosphere. So yeah, Tuesday, Wednesday looking drier. And then as Erin's influence leaves us, we'll start to look better and better and better in terms of rainfall for Thursday and Friday. For my friends that I know were going to ask about the coastal 7-day forecast, I've got you covered. Notice for you, rough surf and rip currents being mentioned in the 7-day forecast there. Okay? So that is kind of where we're at. And with that said, I will pause and say good morning to you. How are you? What questions do you have? What do you got? What do you got in your head? Your secret's safe with me. What do you think the chances of it not turning, like Crystal asked? Okay, so I missed Crystal. It's going to turn. Remember, if nothing else, weaker goes west. And this is not a weak storm. This is a very powerful Category 4 hurricane. It's going to recurve now more than ever, because as it continues to get stronger, it continues to get stronger. Now, we haven't recalculated the intensity model data since it's gotten this rapid intensification, but based on the last intensity model data that we had, here's a look. No computer, you see it initialized as a Cat 2. So we'll get new data here. What is it? It's 12Z right now. We'll get new data in short order in a few hours' time. But notice at the time, no computer model brought it to Cat 5 intensity. All right. So, do we get there? I mean, if you think about it, we're kind of right on the cusp. The models had us here. They didn't really, nobody was rapidly intensifying. Like we're here right now, right? Like we're right there. So the models have underdone this. I will be interested to see the 18Z model data to see where it ends up putting this thing. Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But no, this is going to turn, especially because it's a stronger storm. Yeah. John says, I have to say the fact that they have been still accurate about the consensus models before it was an invest is truly remarkable. This was a very well forecast storm thus far. Let's hope that that trend continues. Yeah. Yep. Yep. In this case, rapid intensification is something we want. Steers it away. Cindy, you are absolutely right. Absolutely, absolutely right. Yeah. Lucas, I'm sure you're relieved, as we all are, but have you seen the GFS for the weekend of the 29th? GFS doing GFS things. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the computer models. Now, trying to think of. All right, well, let's just look at the GFS. We'll let the model take us on the journey, okay? So here's the GFS as it stands. All right, there's Erin passing by, doing its thing. Now, the latest GFS has a little something in the Caribbean, crossing Cuba and heading over to Texas around the 29th. Okay? That's a hurricane. That would be an impactful storm. That would not be a fish storm, right? Because once you put something in the Gulf, it's going to make landfall somewhere. So that's the current flavor. That's the 29th of August. Let's go back a run. And the last run was putting it into like Mobile, back over to like Gulfport, Mississippi. Go back 2 runs. It was kind of doing the East Coast thing. You go back 3 runs, and it was putting a storm essentially into New Orleans. Okay, take a look at the date there. Okay, so you're looking at this date, for example, 28th, 29th of August. Okay, now why is this something that I in particular want to watch? The 28th, 29th of August. What's going on? 28th, 29th of August. Well, for starters, if we go back to my long range forecast, 28th, 29th of August, if we look at the part of the pattern I called the slow Gulf low, because each time it was kind of a slow meanderer, what was that, the 28th, 29th of August? There you go. The return date on this, August 25th through September 3rd. This part of the pattern is now showing up on the GFS. Is this to hype it? No. Is this guaranteed to happen? No. But the GFS is showing that signal consistently, and it fits the cycling, the teleconnection that we have here. Okay? So it's not to be ignored, is I guess what I'm trying to say. All right? There's the current run, kind of a Texas type deal. Again, if we look, I don't think it's going to be Texas. I think it would be Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Florida Panhandle area. But the model's starting to initialize something. Don't ignore it. All right, let's go over to the European. All right, so the European showing Erin doing Erin things, recurving. Switch over to the 0Z because that's the one that... Now, notice the European has something kind of popping up east of Florida and then recurving. So the Euro does not have anything heading toward the Gulf yet, but it's got the signal of something. Let's go back a model run. There's Erin, a weak little something. It's got the weak little something, if you look closely, Turks, Caicos, South Florida, and then perhaps into the Bahamas, or excuse me, and then into perhaps the Gulf, but it doesn't do anything with it. All right. Let's look at the Euro AI. Erin doing Erin things. There's the next one recurving. So none of the Euro products, at least the deterministic Euro, have anything. Let's go over to the ensembles. If you're new to Coffee Talk, the ensembles are ways to view things. The GFS and the Euro run, and then they rerun like 83 different ways to give us an idea of consistency. So pretty consistent look at where Erin is going to go. I got to be honest, though, given the fact that this is under 100 hours, that's still a pretty decent spread in ensembles. The weaker ones are closer to the United States. It's a Cat 4. I don't think that's going to play out. There's the GFS ensemble showing those Hornets. So again, around the 26th, 27th, 28th, signals of something trying to develop, maybe threatening the southeastern United States. Too early to tell what would be. Euro ensembles. Recurving. That's as far as a 6E goes. The Euro is showing ensemble waking up. It's the deterministic doesn't really have it, but the ensemble members are starting to sniff something out. Same time frame, 26th, 27th, 28th. Let's look at the AI. There's Erin. The AI is showing stuff, although the AI is much more on a Atlantic side than maybe on the Gulf side, but there are some of those ensemble members that are showing it. Bottom line, this fits the forecast part of the pattern I highlighted February, what, 28th, right? August 25th through September 3rd, the northern Gulf Coast will need to watch. That's what the GFS is showing. That's what we have to check out. And of course, this forecast is always available for you free of charge, wesh.com, or just Google WESH 2025 hurricane forecast. All right. So that's kind of where we're at. By the way, whatever is next, Fernand is the next named storm. Not, I don't know how, I feel like Fernand is a sweet name. So that can't make landfall anywhere. I don't know. What do I know? As long as Imelda does not bother us. Those ice storms in Florida, good gravy. All right. So, Lucas, long story long about that. Let me get caught up on some of your questions. 28th is also the first UCF game, Steph says. That's what you think, right? I hope as well, yeah. All right. I have lived here 6 years in Winter Park. Does Winter Park ever get hit hard from a hurricane? It can, Lori, yeah. Hurricane Charlie kerslobbered the area. Irma kerslobbered the area, yeah. Disney therapy. When are we going to start feeling fall weather? Well, meteorological fall starts quite hot in Central Florida. The average high temperatures don't really make motion until about November. So, yeah, we've got plenty of time before that happens. All right. Let's see here. Like a little swarm of hornets, Cindy says. Yep. Frank says, again, the Gulf is closed this year. I think that you've noticed that the word again is incorrect because the Gulf has been quite open the last few years. And I think the Gulf is absolutely going to be open this year, unfortunately. Yeah. Ann says, husband and I have a cruise planned early September. There's always a major hurricane when we take a couple's trip. Don't do it in September. No, I'm just kidding. It's fine. Just the mariners are great at hiding those cruise ships as best they can. Yeah. We don't need Karen hitting us. There's the Karen. Yeah. What did I say? Disney therapy? I'm killing you. I don't mean to. Ay, ay, ay. Is there a possibility for a storm for early September? Iris is asking. I would expect early September. That's the peak of hurricane season. September 10th is the peak of hurricane season. Yeah. All right. All right. Back here at home, it's going to be hot today. Feels like temperatures 105 to 110. 7-day forecast showing a 60% coverage of showers and storms, 70% for tomorrow. Let's take a look at Futurecast for today, just to kind of get an idea of when it will rain on your parade. Through lunchtime, we're good. 1, 2 o'clock, starting to see those storms bubbling up around town, right? And then 3, 4 o'clock, storms continue. It looks like our western spots are going to have the best opportunity to see the storms today. All right. That's it, Nicole. That's it. Yep. All right. The Marching Knights will be able to perform a halftime show at the Tampa Bay Bucks game in November. That's cool. Always love that. Yeah. Names that don't invoke fear or urgency should not be used for hurricane names. I'll have a hard time taking any threats from a Fernand seriously. No offense to anyone named Fernand. This is from Oliver speaking. We need names like Hurricane Rocco, Hurricane Vinny, and Hurricane Debo, right? Tony would work. Like, when I see Tony call me, my anxiety goes through the roof. Because it's always, hey, real quick, and it's never real quick. All right. Cool. Nothing from Tony right now. Hey, real quick, 25 minutes later. Hey, but one more thing. That's a hurricane you have to watch for. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns, people? I've got a board retreat at the Orlando Science Center, so I'm going to have to go do Hurricane Eric. Cool, calm, collected. Doesn't really ruffle your feathers. Like vanilla pudding. It's there. Doesn't really, you're not, it's like, this is me. Like, I'm here. I don't stand out. Like vanilla pudding. You can get a good chocolate pudding. That'll stand out. But vanilla pudding, you're like, it's there. It's there. You know, it's there. It's there. All right. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Are there any other storms following behind Erin? Alejandra's asking. Yes, I spent a good amount of time on it a little bit ago. Rewind. Yeah. Yep. All right. Anything else? Yeah. All right. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. I will see you for coffee talk tomorrow morning, bright and early at 8 o'clock. Take care. Bye.